still trying to figure out that cover. Where the fist is coming out of the mouth, but the thumb is on the wrong side, and it doesn't really make sense.
I'm like trying to visualize this. So, Fistful of Metal, okay. Then I had this idea for this album cover. The brute force of just your bare hands going through a person. And this is something that people seem to be confused about, is you had one hand grabbing on an angle, and you had the other hand going through. So that is the angle, whether it's this way or this way. So it's not two left hands. It's just a weird angle. It's an angle where you see the side and this. And that's what I explained to the artist. I said, you know, you're grabbing it, you're kind of like, it's one of these. It's like you're putting it through. Like, it's not just a punch in the mouth, it's a punch through the back of the head, through your mouth. Like, wow.
And we went through a lot of logo iterations until we settled on what became the logo, which we were all fucking stoked on. Like, it just, you knew it when you saw it. It was like, that's a logo. Like, that's the brand. That says everything without even seeing a picture of us. You get excited when you look at it. Like Iron Maiden, Kiss. Like, it's a logo.
And we were all excited about this album coming out. Finally, all the stuff.
We get the advanced copies in the States. The first Megaforce pressings come.
And we get a copy of it.
And the logo on the album cover is pink.
And it's fucking got a pink logo on it! What the fuck?
We're a fucking metal band. We have a pink logo.
We were supposed to be red. A blood red logo.
Well, they weren't going to just suddenly eat 5,000 copies of this album. And we're stuck with a fucking pink logo and an album cover we hate with no photo. We were like, this is horrible. Like, what's going on? Even with the pink logo and no photo, I'm still very proud of the record we made.
I was a 19-year-old kid, so excited to be on my first record. I'll always be proud of that record. You know, put it that way. You know, that's the first record I was on, whether or not I was in the band when it came out or not.
You know, the record's done. It's coming out. It's coming out in January of '84. And I can't wait for people to hear Death Rider. And, you know, I just can't wait for people to get to hear this. It's exciting. We got a fucking album coming out.
There was this rift in the band. Neil never really liked Danny Wilker. They would always get into things.
That and the fact that Neil was very high-strung and couldn't take a joke. So, of course, we were obnoxious teenagers. Once you realize somebody can't take a joke, you just got to rib him even more. So you've got to even dislike me personally because I was an obnoxious teenager and I busted his balls a little.
It was a weird situation, and Neil ended up firing Danny.
I'm sitting in my house, my mom's house, and Danny calls me, Wilker, and he's like, "Hey, dude, what's going on?" What do you mean? What are you talking about? And he goes, "I just got a call from Neil, and he fired me. I'm out of the band." What?
I was thrown out of that band literally, I think, 3 or 4 days before Fistful of Metal came out. So, you know, I ain't gonna lie, that was crushing. You know, I did shed a few tears. I'll be honest.
That was never discussed ever. I was like, hold on, let me, you know, I'll call you right back. I called Charlie. I called Spitz. I said, "Did you speak to Neil or Danny?" "No." I told them what happened. They were both as shocked as I was.
That's not okay in this band. We don't do things like that. We don't have people in our band like that. You know, we're a team.
What are we gonna do? I'm calling Neil right now. What the fuck?
It was an unfortunate situation, but, you know, I know that people want to say that, "Oh, Neil, you know, it's all you. You know, you had everything to do with that." Well, you know, if I was Santa Claus and I was driving the sleigh, you know, and all the reindeers were under my control, then, you know, and I had all the presents, well, you know, then maybe I'd be in control of Christmas.
And I got the singer of the band telling me, either you're the bass player, who's like your best friend, is gone, or I leave. And I'm like, that's so fucked up. You know, we can make this work. I don't understand why is it such an issue for you? You know, we can all talk to Danny. We can figure this out. You know, he's like, nope, I'm fucking done. It's either him or me. And, you know, this is January of 1984. I wasn't the guy that I became because of lessons like this. I said, he's giving us the ultimatum. Like, what do we do? What do we do? You know, what are we going to do? The fucking record's coming out. If we lose our singer, you know, we all talked about it. If we lose our singer, we're done. Like, we've got that tour coming up with Raven in the summer. We already knew Johnny Z had this tour coming up. If we lose a bass player, we're not done. All right, I'll call Lilker, right? And I'm telling you, dude, it's the hardest. I mean, probably professionally and personally, it's the hardest conversation I ever had.
It really is a shame what happened within the band, let's say.
Especially at that point, I was fucking 21 at that point, to tell my best friend, you're out of the fucking band. Even saying it now makes me want to punch myself in the face.
He's just a talented dude, man. Like, really, like, his writing was amazing.
Anthrax definitely kicked off thrash metal for the East Coast, I would say, and that's something I'll always be proud of.
All my friends from the area, if I made it, I wanted to bring them all up with me. A lot of them went on to do bigger things, and Frankie was one of them.
When I heard there was going to be an audition, I didn't know, because I was a tech / roadie.
He always felt bad about Danny Lee, getting removed because he liked Danny as well.
I'm friends with Danny Lilker. I think he's one of the most talented bass players, writers. I think he's got something great and different about his writing. I had heard that Danny was going to be out of the band, and that's even hard to say it like that, because Danny, he's a great dude, and he's a friend of mine. Because I felt guilty. I said, "What should I do this? Because I don't want to. Does it feel weird because Danny was the bass player?" Then I said, "If I don't audition, somebody else is going to get the gig."
Growing up with Frankie, I got him to play an instrument. I saw something in him that I knew he's very, very charismatic. He gets it. You know what I mean? So I knew that he would be great in the band.
Frankie was family. He was part of our crew, and literally family, because he's Charlie's nephew.
Kind of, almost forced him on everybody, but everybody liked him at that point anyway. So it was an easy transition.
I was related to Charlie, and I guess that was a feather in my cap, but I didn't know I was going to get the gig.
Frankie plays bass. We're all friends. He's an awesome dude. He knows the songs. Let's put him through an audition, which was ridiculous. He didn't need to audition. We knew Frankie was the guy.
Came time to go on tour, and he was great on tour, on stage, you know what I mean? He had so much excitement. He added a lot of excitement to the whole vibe of the band and the show.
That was something that, I liked Frankie. That changed the dynamic. Like I had to strongly stand my ground on an idea.
And it was a constant. It was constantly. It was this all the time, because you had the my way or the highway guy, and then you had 4 other guys who were like, no, we want to try this. Maybe we'll try this.
And the funny thing about working towards a goal is, like, you have that camaraderie and you have that bond, and then you go on tour for the first time and you find out who's not going to make it back. And that's exactly what happened with us. We found out who wasn't going to make it back.
I didn't really get to see them live until we finished the first record. And of course, they were always a really solid band. They worked really hard. They were no bullshit, those guys.
So we go out on that tour, and it's fucking great. How could it not be? People all over the country, every city we go to, they know our songs.
And they came through Los Angeles, where I was living at the time, on their very first tour, Fistful of Metal album, and Neil Turbin was the singer at that time.
They were all business, and they were on a mission.
A very powerful band, and a lot of energy, which I think is a trademark and a hallmark of Anthrax, is just relentless bludgeoning energy.
I think all of us kind of bonded, meaning me, Scott, my nephew, and Spitz. But one guy didn't bond, and that was Neil, and it was very difficult dealing with certain things.
I think the band had an idea of what they were doing, and those plans didn't include me.
We were all in a van, sleeping in a van and crashing on people's floors, and he just couldn't hang with it. And that's basically what happened, and then we made the decision, and Scott was like, that's it, he's got to go.
He convinced them to throw me out, and then they threw him out 7 months later.
Now that Neil was gone, we wouldn't have to wear fucking leather pants anymore. which none of us ever wanted to wear. Now I can wear my shorts because I'm running around on stage. I want to wear fucking shorts.
I think that it was a great experience to be able to create what we did and to accomplish. I think if it wasn't for that contribution to the band, if I wasn't part of it, who knows how things would have went for him. I'm not going to go assume anything, but I think people still buy the album. I still get royalties that I see checks for on Fistful of Metal. I mean, they're still selling albums. I mean, someone's buying it. I mean, I guess, and someone must like it. So that's a good thing.
I appreciate Fistful. It's like, it's like Killing Is My Business. I never really go to that album, It's like I appreciate it for what it is, and I know the album.
I started going backwards slowly with the Anthrax catalog, and I remember it took me a little bit to hear the first album. I don't know why, for whatever reason it was. But to hear Fistful, it was years into it.
I guess I would default to Fistful of Metal, because that was when I discovered them and what was the most influential to me, and especially to Mr. Bungle, like when we were, growing up. That record kicked us in the mouth, and in a great way.
Hold on a second. Let me just say something really quick. I remember buying Fistful of Metal like fucking like mail order when I was like 14 years old. So this is a weird full circle dream come true.
My mom and dad were super cool. So when they went to New York in 1986, and they came home with Fistful of Metal on picture disc, Armed and Dangerous EP, and the Madhouse 12-inch, and a Megadeth t-shirt.
I was in this thrash metal cover band, and I think we covered Panic. I'm pretty sure, or at least we tried to. And it was difficult.
I grew up in a small town where 8,000 people lived. So it's me and my friend Jens. We were into metal, and we found a guy called Tommy that played guitar. Not really into metal, but he could play guitar, so we had to bring him on board. I mean, I was 15, so we played a show. I played bass and sang, and we played Panic from Fistful of Metal. I had no idea what we were thinking that we could pull that off because we couldn't really play, but that was the first one of the first songs I ever played live in front of a crowd of like high school kids that were there to dance.
I mean, that song to me is like, man, that's one of the great riffs. Remember wanting to play that song, and like, I think our guitar player couldn't really do it very good, which proves the amount of like precision. It's not just like thrash and go crazy and scream. Like, there's a lot of precision in there.
The cool thing to do with Fistful and Disease is to go back and really listen and see where they're going. You can hear where they're going, like you can really feel that it's like they're starting to figure it out,
At least it gives me a standard to try to live up to. I mean, I got to try to write more songs like Metal Thrashing Mad.
I think it's great that, after all this time, that the band is still relevant and those guys are still doing stuff. I'm very proud to have been on that record. And, besides the 3 hours I was very angry that I'd been thrown out of the band fucking 37 years ago, I'm glad that Anthrax has become such a force in the metal scene, and I'm proud of what I did to help make that happen. It's fucking cool. Really. Yeah, I'm not a bitter person just because I'm not in the band now. I'd have to be quite the fucking asshole to be mad this long anyway.
I think that there's something for everyone. I mean, Anthrax has had a long and successful career, and they've done a lot of different directions for the band. There's been different, through different singers. There's some great things about the beginnings of Anthrax that I think are unique and that are something that inspired a lot of people.